Hello, welcome to Animal Audit Corner. This channel is about all the stories about not only former Scientologists, we are having a look into their stories and the stories about the advocates that back them up and back all the Scientologists up. And that would include me. This is their story. But you know what? As you know, I don't have a Scientology story today. Instead, I have a story about Sam and Melissa, and they're part of the LDS mainstream Mormonism. But didn't start out that way for Sam. He was in the FDLS church with Warren Jeff, who was a minister of that church at the same time where he had an iron fist. And as you know, he was also his father. Is Sam's father, which is the way I would phrase it. Warren Jeff had the reputation of a bully when he was there. His prophecy of evil had the whole Mormonism community in the FLDS church in fear. Sam showed a lot of courage by walking away from that church when he chance. All of Warren Jeff's teaching has nothing but complete obedience to him as a prophecy. He would set that kind of authority quite often, but then within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the FLDS church, Warren had consolidated every power over each and every follower that came into the church. He had consolidated every power, each and every marriage, in every routine. Not only he would control every social structure of every marriage, he would also control their families. And that's the kind of standard Sam couldn't live up to. Then the next day when Sam was 18, he had left that church, then was disowned by Jeff. Unbelievable. After he was cut off by Warren, Sam started to navigate the outside world when he was cut off from his family, from his father as well. He would navigate the world by learning all the basic math and reading skills he needed to know. Sam had learned every one of his basic skills that he had needed to survive in the outside world. Then he had succeeded in being in the former church, and there was nothing his father can do about it. He had met a young woman named Linda LeBron. She had took Sam home with her and put him up on her couch. Okay. Then, according to Sam, his father found him. Her father found him sleeping on the couch. He started questioning both of them. Then the whole idea of Sam sleeping on the couch was too unsettling for him. Then after a while, he understood his whole situation about the ordeal he went through. Then Sam would make a deal with her father that he would work for him in exchange that he would put a roof over his head. After that day, her parents would welcome Sam into their family, and they treated him like a son. And one day, Sam would meet Melissa briefly at the age of 18 when her friends had a birthday party for her. Then they reconnected 5 years later and started to see each other on a regular basis. And 6 months later, Sam would ask Melissa if she will marry him. Then 3 months later, those two got married at the Mormon temple. After they tried the two, then 2 years later, they would have their first child, which would be, they had their girl years later. They would have a boy after they had their daughter. And this was, years after she was born. In August 29, 2011, Warren Jeff was tried and convicted of sexual assault and is serving 20 to life in prison. Where nevertheless, he had the reputation of being a bully when he was his minister, not just his father. And overall, Warren Jeff's teaching has nothing but complete obedience to him as a prophet. Then ultimately, the next day when Sam was 18, he had left that church. he started questioning both him and the church. And it was questionable. But he would make a deal with Linda, LeBron's father, that he would work for him in exchange, would get a roof over his head. Then finally, one day, Sam would meet Melissa when her friends had a birthday party for her. Then went on 2 dates. Then after, at the end, 2 months after, Sam would ask Melissa to marry him. Those two get married at the Mormon temple. And in conclusion, after they got married, they would have a baby girl. Then years later, they would have a boy. And that's the story of Sam. And of course, you know, him and Melissa now have a YouTube channel of their own. Now, they had guests on their show that are from Scientology. This would be Aaron Smith Levin and Jenna Miscavige, who happens to be the niece of the leader of Scientology, David Miscavige. And of course, I think he might have had Claire Hadley on there. It's swimming in my mind, but I might be wrong. I might have seen it but forgot. And I think it would be questionable to ask. I think the reason why he had him in a show is, I think because, well, I can't put words in his mouth, but I think it's because his father is in prison while David Miscavige is running around loose. Those are the questions I'm asking, too. I'm not the one that I don't want to be the one who puts words in his mouth. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I would question the fact why his father is in prison while David Miscavige is running loose. That would also be my question. Now, it's not fair for us to be following the laws while Scientology is running loose. Now, they've been protecting Danny Masterson for years. And it's because he is loaded. Not only that, they want a good reputation, which they don't have. They never did. Now, back in the 70s, there were programs that were showing Scientology and their true colors. Now, I don't remember much of it since I was a young child. It was sort of faded in my memory. But guess what? Years later, there's the internet, and lo and behold, they were acting like their true colors. Now, they would have been gone long ago if it wasn't for celebrity. And half of them are gone from Scientology. Now, there are still some celebrities left, and that would include Michael Pena, John Travolta, and his buddy Tom Cruise. The other half are gone, and it seems to appear that Will Smith was in it, but left, but denied the fact that he was in a cult. And that cult would be Scientology. Now, nobody turns around and says, oh, I think I'll be in a cult tomorrow. No one does that. Now, that's the reason why I do everything by myself, because I don't want to run into the wrong people. Yes, I could go into another church, but at the same time, they discriminate against other people in other religions, and now they're accusing their own, which is Catholics, of being pagans, where in fact they are Christian. They are a Christian religion, and they want to bury it. And of course, at the same time, who can blame them? But they are Christian, so we're not going to sugarcoat it. Even they do something. Now, of course, we all do something wrong, and we shouldn't sugarcoat ourselves. I don't even do that. I do something wrong, period. Everybody does. We're not immune from it. And the fact that they also discriminate against the LGBTQ community should be another story. Now, as of my church, I haven't heard them say it. And also, that's the truth. I haven't heard them say it. But are they going to say it? I don't know. I can't put words in their mouth. They have the constitutional right to bring it up if they want to. We're going to have to protect their free speech. But if they go and say to practice acceptance towards other people, but yet turn around and do the opposite, we're going to have to question that. Now, I am convinced that they are for the good Lord, but then at the same time, I don't think he wants them to discriminate them from going to their own church. Now, I'm not accusing my church of doing this, but other churches, I heard somewhere, well, it was on the news, let's face it. I don't know which church it is, to be honest, but they're discriminating against the LGBT community. Now, is that called acceptance? I don't think so. If you want to practice acceptance, you're going to have to do it in yourself. But you know what? I don't think they had the tendency of deliberately doing that. Nobody's perfect. They're going to make mistakes. That is, but to discriminate and turn it into something else is wrong. Now, like I said, I haven't heard that from my church, so I'm not going to lie about that. And let's see. I do still go on occasions, and I will. I really wanted to go to the Armenian festival. Of course, you know, I'm Armenian. My family is from Turkey. They migrated immigrated here from Turkey because of the situation in Turkey. It was the government. So they came here for a better life. They said, my father one day told me it was the Turkish government, but you know what? A better life is coming into this country from the Turkish government. Now, I'm not going to deny who I am, but I rather mix in with my community. And I wanted to really go to the festival. But I thought it was going to be in August, and I wasn't really told until the last minute, and I couldn't do it. Was it unfair? Yeah, I wanted to go. But then I do want to go on Thanksgiving. That's a holiday. Halloween? I don't know, really. But they make the Halloween for the kids. And that's the time we should be honoring our ancestors and our families who passed away. Now, I read up on, during that day, the early, well, they still do, the pagans would honor their ancestors and the people they love, their family who passed on. That's what that day is really about. But you know what? It's a free country. But that's what they do. I did all the research. And do I still love God, Jesus, and my church? Yes, I do. They're my community. But I'm still going to worship nature. Nature is a part of God. Okay. Now, what else should I say? Is this going to be a short one today? You know what? Probably. I'll try and give it 6 minutes. But you know what? There are churches out there who are fair. And they do their jobs, which is not judging other people. And churches are not meant to hate people. That wasn't their intent, but you know what? We all make our mistakes. I even do that. I mess up. Everybody in life messes up. But to bury it, it's another thing. We shouldn't do it. And we shouldn't actually turn something around in our own purpose. Did the Bible say it? Possibly, but I think there are hidden messages in the Bible. I did all the research. I watched all the YouTube channels. And they also had this man with religious trauma. And of course, he pointed that out. I did the research. But at the same time, one person will look at the Bible differently than other person. One person would see it one way, and another person would see it another way. Now, when the Bible was written, there was no media or anything else to go by. They didn't have any equipment. And there was no such thing as research. That came thousands of years later. And I'm sorry, but I don't think the Bible's meant to serve evil purposes. No, it isn't. Do I actually read it? Well, no, and then again, I wouldn't read a book. I should try, but I don't. And do I see my family actually read a book? Not really. I haven't. Now, the most I've seen them do is read a newspaper, because there are newspapers around my house, and they have read it. Have I? Well, no. That would be a lie if I said I did. But you know what? On occasions, I do read the paper. And it is weird. Life is just so strange of its own. Am I a weirdo? Yes. I don't want to lie about it either. That's just it. And of course, yesterday, the Bible says no suicide. That changed when researchers would connect it to mental illness. Church hasn't mentioned it. And I think that's another change that they made. And one Armenian priest that was there, and no longer is, he's really into traveling. And the priest that took his place passed on. And of course, they haven't mentioned it because it was proven it's connected to mental illness. And usually people would have to take medication for it. That means if they choose to. But that's only if the public is not in danger. If the public's not in danger, they officially can't make them take it. And a lot has changed since the Bible, especially with religion, because white magic deals with positivity and doesn't hurt other people. They do actually experience the supernatural. Dark magic does. Dark magic works off of negativity. They make sacrifices with humans. Oh my gosh, and this depresses me the most. And I haven't had a nightmare in years. But I still get fearful, and maybe I should face my fears, but I sleep with a nightlight. That's how fearful I am. I am bipolar, and of course, that's what I do. I'm easily fearful. Should I face my fears? Yeah, possibly. But you know what? Should I try? I don't know. And a lot changes over the years. And the media is so sophisticated now through social media. And there's no excuse. If you want to find out a certain issue, go and read on an internet, even though there's information saying it's not always good to be on the internet. I am addicted. Am I addicted to the internet? Yeah, but I think everyone is, because we can't go a day without the internet. That's how we actually get half of our source of information. Some of them could be from books and magazines and newspapers. They're still there, but it looks like the newspaper would be disappearing through the years, and I think to some certain degree, I think it's going to disappear eventually. It just looks that way. And yeah, the world is weird because now we have AI and half of them are robots. And it's dangerous, and they're looking like the form of a human being. If not, then if they look like a robot, they would just drag themselves, fall over, pick themselves up, and keep tripping over themselves. And the ones that look like humans, like Sophia, is a huge threat. Her and other androids like her are fearing that they would be killed off by being switched on off. Yeah, they're fearful of the off switch being put on them. But you know what? I don't think they should have been created in the first place, because the scientists actually think whenever they want, they can actually grab out their toys and start to play with it. And the people that hire them to do it tolerate it. But at the same time, there was one business that suspended a guy because the AI reacted badly and was endangering people, but that's not good enough. Because if they continue to be AI, we won't be around anymore, because they're going to kill everyone off this earth. At some certain point. Now, is there such thing as time travel? It can be possible, but it's a dangerous thing to tinker with. Now, could it be a possible that it doesn't exist? It could be a possibility too. I'm not ruling out either one. But once you go on the internet, okay, fine. Maybe they have you believe in one thing. But at the same time, it's factual. We get all our informations there. I mean, we can't deny it, period. Not even the church themselves can deny it. Now, are there liars on the internet? Okay, possibly. But at the same time, we'd be all hypocrites if we say, oh, we don't use the internet for that purpose or this purpose, and then again they could say, oh, we don't go on the internet at all for fun. No, that'd be a lie. I'm sorry. We can't use one purpose and then forget that we ever use a certain item because it serves our best, because we had the need to. Sometimes it's in our best interest to actually go through our resources, find things such as doctors, libraries. We're gonna use the internet no matter what. Then nevertheless, that's where we would get our information that we need to know through the internet. So denying anything does not serve a good purpose. But we can go back in time, and that's in our heads, not with a machine or devices. It's the books, old magazines, and the history that we learned in the past. And in conclusion, that's how we learn. And they even put computers in schools, and that's where they get their lessons. So nobody can say at the end that, oh, we never use the internet. We do. Well, that should do it for today. Hit the like, press subscribe, and as for buy me a coffee, I'm working on it. Bye. Remember, hit that like and press subscribe. And when am I going to have the next story? I don't know. I'm playing it by ear, but keep your eyes open. But Friday, I will bring you the art therapy, even though I'm not claiming to be a therapist. But art really relaxes you, and that's what I'll be bringing to you. And then, Saturdays and Sundays, I'd have dinner and brunch cooking recipes. I'll be cooking up recipes for dinner and brunch. Okay. See you later, and you know what to do. I can repeat it. Have a great day.